Are you ready to take a spine-tingling journey to the most haunted places on Earth? From abandoned quarantines to mysterious disappearances, these islands have a chilling past that will make your blood run cold. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket, and get ready to hear the top 10 haunted island stories that make you want to sleep with the lights on. What you're about to hear may not be suitable for the faint of heart. Number 10. Poveglia Island, Italy. Welcome to Poveglia Island, where the ghosts of the past still haunt the present. This desolate and abandoned island in the Venice Lagoon is said to be cursed, and for a good reason. In the 1700s, it was used as a quarantine station for those suffering from bubonic plague. Thousands of people were brought to the island, only to die in isolation and despair. But that was just the beginning of the horror that would take place in this cursed land. In the early 20th century, the island was turned into a mental hospital. It is said that the doctor in charge of the hospital performed cruel and barbaric experiments on the patients. The doctor was eventually driven mad by the screams of the tortured souls and threw himself off the bell tower, committing suicide. Today, locals report seeing ghostly figures wandering the abandoned buildings and hearing the anguished screams and whispers of the patients subjected to the doctor's cruel experiments. Visitors to the island have reported feeling an unexplainable sense of dread and even being physically attacked by unseen forces. Poveglia Island is a place of pure terror where the past still grips the present with its cold skeletal hands. The spirits of the dead still linger, trapped on this cursed island, forever seeking release from their torment. Will you dare to enter the gates of Poveglia Island and face the haunting spirits that reside there? Enter at your own risk. Number 9. Hashima Island, Japan. Hashima Island, also known as Battleship Island, a place where the echoes of the past still reverberate with spine-chilling intensity. This deserted island off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan is a haunting reminder of a dark chapter in history. Once a thriving coal mining town, Hashima Island was abandoned in the 1970s and left to crumble into the sea. But the ghosts of the past still linger here. It is said that the miners who toiled in the earth's bowels were subjected to grueling conditions and treated like disposable commodities by their overseers. The island is said to be cursed, haunted by the vengeful spirits of the miners who were worked to death in the mines. Visitors to the island have reported seeing ghostly figures lurking in the shadows and hearing the sounds of pickaxes striking the coal seams as if the miners are still trapped in their eternal labor. But the true horror of Hashima Island lies in its abandoned buildings. Crumbling and decrepit, they stand as a testament to the suffering that took place here. The air is thick with a sense of foreboding, and it is said that the spirits of the miners still roam the halls, their moans and screams echoing through the empty corridors. Hashima Island is a place of unspeakable horror, a haunted wasteland where the past refuses to die. If you dare to step foot on its shores, be prepared to face the wrath of the ghosts that call this forsaken island home. Number 8. St. Helena Island, South Atlantic. Prepare to enter the realm of darkness as we take you on a journey to St. Helena Island, the most haunted place in the South Atlantic. This remote island, located over 2,000 kilometers from the nearest landmass, has a dark past that has left it cursed for all eternity. In the 19th century, St. Helena Island was a prison for some of the world's most dangerous criminals. The inmates were subjected to brutal conditions, and many died in agony within the prison walls. The island's reputation for torture and death has left a stain on its very soul, and it is said that the spirits of the inmates still roam the island to this day. Visitors to St. Helena Island have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread as soon as they step off the boat. The air is thick with the moans and cries of the tortured souls locked away here. The prison buildings are now abandoned and crumbling, but the spirits of the inmates still linger, their ghostly forms haunting the corridors and cells. But the terror of St. Helena Island doesn't stop there. It is said that the island is also home to the ghost of Napoleon Bonaparte, who was exiled here in 1815. Napoleon died on the island in 1821, and it is said that his spirit still roams the island, searching for a way to escape his eternal imprisonment. St. Helena Island is a place of unspeakable horror, where the echoes of the past still ring with bone-chilling intensity. If you dare to venture to this cursed island, face the wrath of the tortured souls imprisoned here and the ghost of one of the world's most notorious leaders. Number 7. North Brother Island, USA. North Brother Island is the most haunted place in the United States. This small island in the East River of New York City was once home to a hospital that treated some of the most contagious diseases of the early 20th century, including typhoid fever and smallpox. But the island's dark past holds secrets that make your blood run cold. The hospital on North Brother Island was notorious for its inhumane treatment of patients. It is said that the doctors and nurses were cruel and indifferent to the suffering of those in their care. Patients were subjected to brutal medical treatments and left to die alone in their beds. But that's not the only horror on this cursed island. In 1904, General Slocum's steamship caught fire in the East River, killing over 1,000 people. The disaster survivors were brought to North Brother Island, where they were forced to live in squalid conditions. Today, North Brother Island is abandoned and overgrown, but the ghosts of the past still linger. Visitors to the island have reported hearing the moans and cries of the patients who died alone in their beds and seeing ghostly figures wandering the abandoned hospital buildings. But the true horror of North Brother Island lies in the shadows. It is said that the ghosts of the victims of the General Slocum disaster still haunt the island, their spectral forms wandering the shoreline and calling out for help. North Brother Island is a place of pure terror, a haunted wasteland where the past still grips the present with its icy clutches. Visit at your own risk. Number 6. Pukapuka, Cook Islands. Pukapuka is a small remote island located in the Cook Islands. This isolated paradise is home to a dark and terrifying secret that has been hidden from the world for centuries. Visitors to the island have reported seeing ghostly apparitions wandering the deserted streets at night. They heard blood-curdling screams echoing through the jungle and felt an oppressive and malevolent presence lurking in the shadows. It is said that the spirits of the island's original inhabitants still roam the land, seeking revenge for the wrongs done to them by the rulers and the living. The ghosts are said to be particularly active during the full moon when their spectral forms are most vital. But the whole horror story of Pukapuka lies in the depths of the surrounding ocean. It is said that the waters around the island are home to malevolent spirits who lure unsuspecting sailors to their doom. Many ships have been lost in the treacherous waters around Pukapuka. The unforgiving sea swallowed up their crews. Pukapuka is a place of pure terror, where the spirits of the dead still hold sway over the living, so don't ever take a risk by visiting this haunted island. Number 5. Îles aux Marins, St. Pierre and Miquelon. Welcome to Îles aux Marins, a small island located in the archipelago of St. Pierre and Miquelon. This remote island may seem idyllic with its picturesque scenery and quaint fishing village, but it holds a dark and haunted secret. Legend has it that Îles aux Marins was once home to ruthless pirates who pillaged and plundered their way through the surrounding waters. The pirates were said to be so feared that even the bravest sailors would avoid the island at all costs. But the true horror of Îles aux Marins was yet to come. In the early 20th century, a devastating fire swept through the island, destroying much of the village and killing many of its inhabitants. The survivors were left traumatized and scarred by the horrific event. Today, the ghostly remnants of the fire still haunt the island. Visitors have reported hearing eerie whispers in the wind and seeing ghostly apparitions wandering the deserted streets. It is said that the spirits of the dead still linger on Îles aux Marins, seeking revenge for the injustices done to them in life. But the true terror of Îles aux Marins lies in the darkness that lurks beneath the surface. It is said that the waters around the island are haunted by vengeful spirits who drag unwary swimmers to a watery grave. Beware, brave souls, for those who dare to venture to the haunted island of Îles aux Marins may never return from the terror that awaits them. Number 4. Chacachacare Island, Trinidad and Tobago. Chacachacare Island is a small island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This island was once a thriving leper colony, where those afflicted with the disease were sent to live in isolation. But the true horror of Chacachacare Island was yet to come. It is said that the island was home to a deranged doctor who conducted horrific experiments on the lepers. He was said to be particularly fascinated with the effects of the disease on the human brain and would perform crude lobotomies on his patients in an attempt to cure them. The patients on Chacachacare Island suffered in unspeakable conditions with little food, water, or medical care. Many died from the disease or the doctor's experiments, and their tortured spirits still haunt the island. Visitors to Chacachacare Island have reported hearing disembodied screams and cries in the night and seeing ghostly apparitions wandering the deserted buildings of the leper colony. It is said that the spirits of the dead still roam the island, seeking revenge on the living for the horrors they endured. The waters around Chacachacare Island are also treacherous, with many ships lost to the rocks and currents surrounding the island. Some say that the ghosts of the lepers still call out to passing ships, luring them to their doom. Beware, folks, for those who dare to venture to the haunted island of Chacachacare, change your mind. The spirits of the dead still hold sway over the island, and their wrath is not to be taken lightly. Number 3. Iwo Jima, Japan. The Iwo Jima is a small volcanic island located off the coast of Japan. This island was the site of one of the bloodiest battles of World War II, with tens of thousands of soldiers from both sides losing their lives in the fighting. It is said that the island is cursed, with the spirits of the dead soldiers still haunting its shores to this day. Visitors to Iwo Jima have reported hearing disembodied screams and cries in the night and seeing ghostly apparitions wandering the deserted beaches and bunkers of the former battleground. It is said that the spirits of the dead still roam the island, seeking revenge on the living for the horrors they endured. The island is also home to several unexploded bombs and other hazardous materials, making it a dangerous place for visitors to explore. Many have reported feeling a sense of dread and unease while on the island, as if the air is thick with the spirits of the dead. Beware, people. Stay away from this cursed place, lest you become its next victim. Number 2. Montserrat, West Indies. Yes, Montserrat is a small island located in the West Indies. The island is steeped in history with tales of pirates, slavery, and volcanic eruptions that have left it scarred and haunted. Montserrat was once a thriving colony, with sugar plantations worked by slaves brought over from Africa. The conditions on the plantation were brutal, with many slaves dying from disease, starvation, and overwork. Their spirits still haunt the island, seeking revenge on their cruel and merciless masters. Another true horror of Montserrat came in 1995 when the island was rocked by a series of volcanic eruptions that destroyed much of the island and forced many residents to flee. The eruption was so violent that it created a new landscape, with rivers of lava flowing down the mountainsides and into the sea. Many residents who fled the island left behind their homes, businesses, and possessions, creating a ghost town that still stands today. Visitors to the island have reported hearing ghostly whispers and footsteps in the abandoned buildings and seeing shadowy figures moving through the streets at night. But it's not just the ghosts of the past that haunt Montserrat. The island is still an active volcanic zone, with a constant threat of eruption and destruction. The people who have returned to the island to rebuild their homes and businesses are always living with the knowledge that their homes could be destroyed at any moment. Number 1. Island of the Dolls, Mexico. Island of the Dolls, located in the canals of Xochimilco, Mexico, is the scariest and most haunted island in the world. This is no ordinary island, but a place shrouded in mystery and horror, where dolls hang from trees like macabre decorations. The legend goes that Don Julian Santana moved to the island in the 1950s, seeking solace from his troubled past. It was a dark and quiet night on the island when Julian stumbled upon the lifeless body of a young girl floating in the nearby river. From that moment on, the once peaceful island was plagued with blood-curdling screams that pierced through the darkness every night. Julian's mind was consumed with terror as he believed that the vengeful spirit of the young girl was haunting him relentlessly. To appease her wrath, Julian began to hang dolls from the trees, hoping that the eerie presence of the dolls would bring him some solace and protect him from the vengeful ghost. But as time passed, Don Julian became more and more obsessed with the dolls, spending his days fixing them up and hanging them all over the island. Some say he believed the dolls were alive and could communicate with him. After several years, Don Julian was found dead in the same spot where he had first set foot on the island. Some say that the dolls had driven him to madness, while others believe he had made a deal with the devil himself. Today, visitors to the Island of Dolls report feeling a sense of unease as they walk through the dense forest, with the dolls staring at them with lifeless eyes. Some even claim that the dolls move independently, whispering secrets and curses to anyone who dares to listen. But the true horror of the Island of Dolls lies in the stories of those who have disappeared on the island, never to be seen again. It is said that the spirits of the dead and the dolls are hungry for new victims, luring them to their doom with promises of safety and protection. Thank you for joining us on our journey through the top 10 haunted island stories. From the chilling tales of Poveglia Island in Italy to the blood-curdling history of Iwo Jima in Japan, we have explored some of the most terrifying and mysterious islands in the world. But beware, for the horrors we have uncovered on these haunted islands are not for the faint of heart. They are stories of tragedy, madness, and unspeakable terror that continue to haunt us today. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, as your support means the world to us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.